Hi, I'm Trisha. I'm founder of Look Fabulous Forever, makeup specifically for older faces like mine. Today I want to talk all about brows, quite a challenging area for a lot of older women. The brows might be very sparse, they might be very faded, almost have disappeared, perhaps through over plucking when we were younger. They might be a bit too short. And generally lacking any qualities that they need in order to frame your eyes and frame your face successfully, because brows are actually very important to how our faces look. So I want to give you lots of hints and tips and also demonstrate our brilliant brow shape, or bring back brow shape, which is what it's called, because it is designed to overcome a lot of the problems that we have with older brows. So let's start with the issue that my brows have got, some of which you might have as well. So if we look at them, you can see that they're not too bad, but they're a little bit straggly looking. If I come in closer, perhaps you can get a better sense of them. They aren't they're not a particularly good shape. And one of the biggest problems I've got is that they're actually rather short. When we measure our brows, there's a very easy way to do it. First of all, the width apart here needs to balance the width apart at the base of your nose, so that needs to be roughly even. This is to do with how we read faces when we look at them. And then the distance from here, catching the corner of the eye, is the point at which the brows should really end. Okay, so my brow should end there, and they actually end there. So they're about that much too short on both sides. It's obviously happened on that side as well. And then you've got the idea of where the point of the brow should be, the highest point of the brow. And we do that from the edge of the nose through the centre of the eye and up, so that we've got that point. So we've got 3 points: where it starts, where it goes up and arches and then starts to come down, and where it finishes. So I'm just going to clip in my hair so that I can demonstrate as much as I can what I'm going to do. Now, my first tip to you would be make sure that this area here is clear of hair. What happens is that brow hairs don't stay where we want them to be. They actually grow in all sorts of other places. So I get hair growing here. When I was younger, I used to get quite a lot of hair in between my two brows. And obviously we get hair that starts to grow here onto the brow bone. Now, I've actually applied highlighter to my brow bone today to make them look better, and I have ruthlessly plucked out all those little hairs that I get here and here. If you haven't got very well shaped eyebrows, or you find that they're actually quite difficult to tame and groom, then do go and get them professionally sorted out, by which I mean go and get them threaded, because if you do get them threaded, then they will leave them a really lovely shape and a perfect sort of base from which to then build some colour and definition. Obviously, there's lots of popularity with things like microblading, which is a form of tattooing, and so on. I am scared stiff of doing anything permanent to my face that I might not like, I might grow out of, I might grow tired of, and might generally not come to dislike very intensely, or I might not like the colour. So I'm not going to go there, but obviously if you do, then that's fine. So let's talk about the starting point for this. So always, I think you need a spoolie brush. We actually sell it as a part of the set with the brow shape. And what I do is I brush what I do have in the way of brows quite hard, like that. And I'm brushing the brow hair up. And then I'm just going to use the top part of the brush just to smooth that down, that top area. Now, that's actually improved my brows somewhat, but now looking, if I sit back a bit and look at myself, I can actually see that my brows are not very defined within my face. You can't really see them, and they're not working very hard for me in a way that I would like them to work. So I think that I can do an awful lot for them by adding a little bit of colour, which is not really to colour them so much as to darken them slightly, and then I'm going to sort out their length and shape in general. I'm going to try and do this demonstrate this as clearly as I possibly can. Now I'm going to shake up the brow shape. This is what it is. It's a little fine brush, and it's this liquid paint in here. And I'm going to start off by just taking the excess off on the back of my hand, like that. And now I'm going to come in really, really close so that hopefully you can see extremely clearly what it is that I'm doing. So using these light feathery strokes, I'm building the shape and the colour of my brows. So if you now compare the one here with that one, you can see that there is quite a big difference. It hasn't taken me very long. In fact, it's a work of seconds really. So I'm just going to a little bit more on the brush, because I've just reached that point where the arc is at its highest of my brows. Now remember, I've got my brows, as you can see, they kind of peter out, they disappear. So let's do our measurement thing again and just see where that needs to end. So taking down that, so the point where it should end should actually be somewhere about there. Let me make a little mark so I know what I'm aiming for. So let me come in really close again. And now I'm going to start to just create the illusion of brow hair as I head towards my dot. Let me get in really close. You can see the effect of that. Now, sit back, have a look. That's looking pretty good, I think. But maybe I could add a little bit more into this inner corner here. Again, I can make that a little bit thicker and more noticeable. So I think I've probably done as much as I want to do to that one. I'm going to match this one in a second, but I hope that's demonstrated to you how that brow shape works. Now, some of you looking at that are going to think, well, that looks a bit hard to me and it looks a little bit too dark now. So don't panic, because there is definitely a two-stage process to this. I'm going to go back with my spoolie, and now I'm just going to stroke the spoolie through to soften the effect. Now I'm using our very dark brown brow shape here, really so that it's easier for you to see. Sometimes I use the grey one, but I do quite like the dark one. This is the darkest one we do. We've just introduced a blonde one, which will be definitely better if you are if you've got blonde hair. But if you're very pale and fair, then obviously go for the blonde one, and that is pretty much perfect for your brows. If they're very they've almost, you almost can't see them because their hair is very blonde. So go for our paler, blonder one. And if your hair is very grey, and if again you weren't particularly dark when you were younger, your hair wasn't particularly dark when you were younger, then I would suggest that you use the grey coloured brow shape. As I said, I switch between the two, but I do quite like the darker one, and I know that I can get it to exactly the right sort of level with the spoolie brush. Now I'm going to do the other one off camera, but we'll come back at the end and you'll see that they're both properly balanced. But I think just doing one is quite a good illustration for you of just how effective the brow shape is. Okay, so both done now, exactly the same either side, and I think they look, well, they look like sisters, not twins. That's what brows are supposed to look like they're related to each other, but they're not identical. And because faces aren't totally symmetrical. But I do hope you like that effect. I think it's absolutely brilliant, this product, Bring Back Brow Shape. I think it works absolutely fantastically. I don't think it's particularly difficult to master. You do need a little bit of practice, but if you follow what I've said in this video, I'm sure that before long you'll be creating the most perfect brows for yourself. So good luck with that. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.